Move to approve the minutes.
I'll take it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Joe, what do you got? This is what Pat had inquired about or suggested checking into his notes on.
Yeah, there's one thing I was checking on, I didn't know whether there's any interest in this or not. I know we've got several projects that funding's a little tight on, so. And I don't know what the interest rate was if we got the other loan on, so I don't know whether this would be a good deal or not. I didn't know whether want me to pursue it any further or not. If you do,
Well, I mean, is this a possibility, what you said, this is a possibility this may apply to the Memorial Hall updates?
it could also apply to the elevator, because we do have a loan on that, so.
Otherwise you could pay that refinance.
If you refinanced it, the way it sounds like it's 3%, I don't know what the interest rate is right now, so.
Of course, it said it could go to 3, of course, that's no guarantee.
Right, I mean, if, you know, we wouldn't have to go along with it unless it did, or if the other is, what was it, 3.5 now or something?
I think it's currently, it says here it's 3.5.
So I don't know whether that's a good rate, or also you can use buildings instead of having to use the graders and things like that for collateral.
Interest on the elevator was 2.85.
Yeah, I think it was lower than that.
And then that probably would be a good deal, so.
Well, the other question I'd probably have is like, is there any loans available currently with the, there's no farm bill in place, so this is USDA rural grant through the farm bill, so I haven't heard of any funding activity, anything related to that yet.
Well, that'd be the thing I want to check out, because, yeah, there's no formula, but there's studies that they're still getting money for certain things.
The way it sounds there, like there is a program for local government, but under, I think it was 20,000 or something.
Yeah, your population less than 20,000.
This is to help rural America with deep projects. But if you get a loan for less than that, it would be kind of silly to something for more.
So it's just, it's not a, yeah, it's just a loan, you know, so.
Yeah, I don't see any forgiveness or anything, some loans, they do those things, and so I can have them keep checking, see if there's anything else out there, because that doesn't seem like it would be favorable for the county.
It's, to me, it's a lot of USDA being involved in helping us pick up more home and stuff, but here again, they do some different things for USDA.
Have we ever considered like geo bonds? Geo bonds are pretty low, some of those can dip into like below 2%.
Well, I think the problem with bonds is the cost of the bond itself.
You get a lot of projects, you know, if we have a lot of things
Yeah.
together, that's when you would want to look at doing a bond. We can issue up to 10 million, is that correct?
I don't know.
That's what we're statutorily held to.
You mean the IRB bonds, or those two bonds?
Well, it'd be like geo bonds.
Honestly, I don't know. I think we looked into it a couple of years ago for just the cost of doing one. And it's going to be a minimum of about $15,000 to do one, and that's, you know, regardless of what the value of the bond issue was. So, you know, for a $200,000 obligation, it makes no sense to do one. But, you know, at $1 million, it would make it would make
Sure.
financial sense to do it.
Well, we're maxed out this year though, for government loans.
Not 2012. We
Uh,
may issue
We issued some for,
BC, like
I thought we
1.8.
done the 10 millions then, didn't
What did we
we?
do?
That was the year before. That
Yeah,
was
that was the year
2011.
Didn't we do something for Memorial too?
No, those were like a pass-through. We weren't actually issuing bonds, I believe, for that. Yeah, I think we were
That
just
was different,
a
okay.
vehicle. We were like a government vehicle for that. But we wouldn't have time, I don't think, to probably get that set up in 2012 anyways, issuance of those
bond?
GO bond.
No.
Yeah, there ain't no way we could probably get that done.
Well, I think the way interest rates are, I mean, I would guess we'll get at least 3% if we pursue with that.
Well, I was looking at, we have in Memorial Hall, we had a window project at the courthouse, that is, a lot of complaints about the air conditioning in Memorial Hall as well, or not Memorial Hall, but the courthouse. A lot of the offices have split units that are quieter and a lot more comfortable, and a lot of the offices still have the old window units, which are noisier and not as comfortable, and probably a lot less efficient. Now we have electrical upgrades, we don't have to worry about that part of the heating.
So I think that's something we can, look down the road, we may have to live through that, because what I was hearing yesterday, the meeting was, we all may have an interesting year in 2014.
Right, now, I was more or less looking for some of those loans that they have forgiveness for and stuff like that, so, but they're not out there yet that I found, so, and Bocane's helping look for them, so, hopefully we can find something. We need to know what's out there too, but, so I just thought I'd keep you updated.
Yeah, my guess is just looking, I think at some of these would be like worst case, if you have trouble, like securing financing through normal banks, that would be my guess. Communities or small groups that are trying to get, that's the only time that I've seen them like, if you read down through there, like poverty, intermediate, or market, the interest rates are flexible, that would be my guess.
The main thing is keep window search and get that price down.
Well,
Because, I mean, there's no doubt, I mean, it'd make a lot of sense to go ahead and get some energy efficient windows, put back in there, it's just that that's a stunning price.
yeah. Well, by the second, third, whatever it is, we're coming up, we should have all those answers, pretty close estimate of what it will be.
So the next, there been people out there who will look at it, I mean, or with engineers to design, be able to tell people how to think this with kind of a price.
What the architect's gonna do very well is going to actually design it himself, and he will use a book that, tells the cost to be associated with those. The, Historic Society threw us a curve when we first started this project, at looking at this project 5-6 years ago. They told us that the windows that were there were historic, and that's what we had to put back. Now they're saying they want back what was originally in the building as far as looks. Not, we'd still do the aluminum, we'd still do the double pane and all that, but they want, and originally in the building, it looks to be that they were double sash windows, wood windows. So, given all that, it may even be cheaper to do that. I mean, that's something we just working on right now to figure out exact price. But of course, all the windows are gonna have to be, commercial windows instead of residential, so they're gonna be more than, you would go to Lowe's or someplace like that to buy them. But then they should last for 50 to 100 years too, so. Even though
Is there any possibility that the initial estimate of cost might come in a little lower?
I think there's a real good chance, it's because I think that what they're looking at is windows more like these, which would be
Yeah, but I'm talking about, the labor part of removing the bricks and putting the windows in. We have an estimated cost, but, I know we usually try to make it true, but.
That's what we was given by a company, that's what they do. They gave us just a guesstimate and a range, so it's probably,
So it may change, when you put it out for bid, it could.
it definitely could change. Yeah, we don't have any prices from the contractor, but I think those prices are probably a little high, but probably not that much. You know, I think there's a little wiggle room, but not a lot.
Okay, yeah.
That's quite a little bit of work, and then it's a real
Well,
special
it's tedious.
price.
Yeah, I understand, it's tedious, brickwork, what they gotta do.
They have to worry about the whole building above that, when they take them out, and all that, so. But we should have all those answers.
And how many windows is it again? Or how many lintels are coming out? Let's put it that way.
I think it's 22, I believe, but yes, it's the three sides.
Yeah, I thought it was more than that.
That's just the number I remember. I mean, you worked with a lot more than I did, but 27 was what I remember.
Okay, yeah, that's probably correct.
Could be 22 windows and 5 doors.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 7 doors, 6 openings. That's 5 openings. 5 openings and 7.
I bet it's 22 windows and 5 doors, 5 more openings.
He said from the time we started this to now, it's been a while, so.
And do we know, like, how many total windows are in the place?
Well, we've got,
Outside of these 27?
well, there's, let's see. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm guessing that there's about 20 windows replaced.
Outside of the,
Yeah, there is a garage door and a stage door that won't have anything done to it other than the lintels replaced. So there won't be anything in those.
so about 20-some in addition?
20 windows.
20 windows total, or
I think so.
that includes doors?
No, and then there would be 5 door openings.
Okay, so that's probably 27. So 27 total. So this would be the whole building. This isn't like,
It's not
we're
the
doing like
front.
some windows, and then there's gonna be a bunch of other ones that are gonna be falling apart.
It's the west, the north, and the east.
Okay.
It's not the front, because the front lintels seem to be in good shape, because it's only made over those enough that I don't think the water ran back up and got in and started the expansion of the metal. So all the front seems to be in good shape, where the stone is hanging out this far over. The rest of the sides where the brick is pretty well, the lintel and the brick are pretty well matched. The water was running down, and it runs into the steel, and whenever it starts to rust, it expands, and that's the whole problem. So the front is, there's nothing in it, but if we was ever going to go, if we was ever going to go out to donations or something like that, somebody's far more apt to donate there anyway, so. I think there are people in this community that would donate some money for a window. Later on. Could be wrong.
Well, I'm just trying to grasp or think about it, because, so often we're doing stuff real short term. If it's 2 years down the road, we gotta replace those, then we're out a lot more money. Nothing goes down, especially when you get into construction stuff, so I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, right now, I mean, they're gonna take out those windows, and that's gonna take part of it to cut them out, not destroy them. And then it's set to put them back, so.
So the 3 sides, not the front.
Not the front, just the 3 sides. So if they're already out, it wouldn't be any more money labor-wise to put back new ones, because instead of taking them out with care, you just knock them out with sledgehammer. Of course, putting back, you got a little more labor and cutting stuff to fit and whatever, but that would,
It should offset, I believe.
yeah, just pretty well offset one another. Then, of course, you get tax credits on those as well. So, anyway, also, if it's okay, I'd like to take off next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, at least some of it. I'll have to work some.
Yeah, unless you have, just you off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything should be covered, the snow's already back. I may be back.
Those 3 days, we're supposed to have another snowstorm coming out, when you see an extended forecast, there's 4 days in a row.
40% chance on,
And it gets better as the year goes on.
Yep.
Well, I'll be here.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no, while you're here, you're talking about snow removal. Would it be possible for, how could we cover snow removal damages?
I already talked to Matt, and Road and Bridge is gonna take care of that.
Oh, very well.
Okay. Yeah, they've come up short, we can help them.
Okay.
Yeah, mow grass and stuff.
So you get that, Matt, I can't get that.
There may be a possibility.
Do what?
We're,
If Road and Bridge can't
the
get
Third
there, you
Street,
go and get there and do
that
it.
hospital.
But they're closer than you.
We'll need to
Yeah.
probably look at.
I could try.
Getting someone up there to possibly mow spring seven when it comes up, so,
Okay. Yeah, we can figure out something.
okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Vacation. Thanks.
What?
All right. First thing is, we got a bill for plumbing, to put in washer and dryer. Their employees did it, so it didn't cost us very much, but they had local price supplies, so it's all $300. Where do you want to take it from? $316.30.
Didn't we originally have something for, they wanted 700?
That was for the electrical. The employees couldn't do the electrical, but the employees could do the water line and drain.
Yeah, those appliances, did that include the washer and dryer for the passes and the soda? And then, yeah. I thought that was so.
Yep.
And where's that $2 million CD that looks good?
The appliances are actually $2,000 or $3,000 cheaper than what it was.
Take it out of commodities on maintenance.
And Joe's. Yeah, he's in good, he's in good shape on that. I would go for that.
That's a move.
Second.
Okay, first thing by saying aye.
All right.
Right on there, yeah. Yeah, you ain't got much left in it, do you?
I transferred money into it. We'll have more than what your report shows.
Came from
The MPG grant,
the
grant.
grant.
We wouldn't have made it on another budget. Holly, did you get that number?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The next is the job description.
Did you?
If you want with us.
didn't do well in English, in word vocabulary, definitions and stuff. Is, was, and to, do, I understood those.
You got those.
They got much longer than 4 days I had on time to understand the reading, so I'm sorry. But
Lady take like an aptitude test or what?
And,
Background check?
of course. Yeah, with all county employees, everyone takes a background check and physical, right? And that's straight across the board, doesn't matter who it is. Even my rescuers that we have, the first responders, they all do background tests and physical, so.
Have we ever done anything with like personality profile tests, or have we ever done anything like that here? Probably not.
The sheriff's department does some written testing, but I don't think they're personality type testing. There are concerns with disabilities, with mental disabilities, happening, so if they're to be done, they have to be post-job offer.
For every position?
I'm sorry?
For every position?
Well, the concern is that they show up with disability. And they evidence a disability, they can evidence a disability.
Then you hire on that, discrimination.
Right. So to avoid discriminating on the basis of their disability, the test can only be done post-job offer. Just like our physicals are only post-job offer. We don't have them do the physical and then pick from people who pass the physical.
But we could do like aptitude test prior, because you have to have a certain degree of
You certainly could.
education or ability to do a job.
Yeah, that's.
Would that be something like, we'd have to set policy? Well, I mean, that's in addition to that. That'd probably be something like policy, what we probably need to take a look at.
I would change on the physical requirements, instead of ability to drive a vehicle, valid driver's license.
Yeah.
There are people without that, that have the ability to drive.
Right, that's true.
that brought up a question to me in terms of, you find in the state, there's a lot of computers here, so let's say they happen to have to go to the county station or something like that, are they just gonna borrow a vehicle?
Well, I have the Explorer, that's kind of emergency management IT, that they can use as far as, just gonna be out there most of the time, it's not gonna be.
That's what I'm saying, is they're gonna have to have some access.
The appraiser's office, I can ask them, they typically have vehicles in the parking lot.
I think we need to work that out and make sure that there's something that's gonna be included. It's not actually in that budget, but we'll have to kind of work around that guideline and stuff. And to make sure it fits into the budget department, but most of it should be very local, but here.
I mean, as far as that, I can drive a personal vehicle, and we'll be paying mileage, from here to Senior Village, it's gonna be a lot of.
So I realize that person's gonna be taking care of basically everything here, but, I think those are some details we need to have, make sure we got worked out, so we don't get into next, and this person finds out he's not getting reimbursed for mileage, or there's a vehicle, because there's gonna be a little bit, not very much, but there's gonna be some bit involved in transportation, so. And here again, so, it may be mid-February, 1st of March before you, so I mean, that gives you 2 months in your, full. Percent of your, what was budgeted, that you get that leeway that you could use, you could possibly use that if you can get them hired for what we're hoping, so.
Do you utilize that, I don't think you utilize that sport very much.
I do.
You do?
I mean, that's, if I'm not around and Connor's go to a meeting, she's gonna start to go to more training. Emergency management, throw on more requirements.
That thing's growing, isn't it?
Emergency management went from here to, I mean, it really is.
I've
I mean,
talked to a lot of people, and I think it's,
yeah. I mean, I use a lot, I took the director position, and it was kind of stagnant there for a little bit, because I was the one there. But she does use it, she doesn't drive it back and forth every day, I mean, it sits at our office. But yeah, I mean, it's not something we want to not have. Because I can't have her driving the spray truck. I mean, it needs to stay inside.
what about that Ford?
The Gator,
Again,
she wouldn't get very far very fast.
We talked about, like physical space, like where they can locate. We do have the room, there's just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff, that would be a perfect room. We got servers there, we've got telephone, we just need to get stuff cleaned out, but that'd be a possible fit for,
well, I don't think we need a lot of
IT and
space, but
GIS.
I think it needs to be, make sure that's, be part of your duty is to find that place, and we do have somebody located, so if somebody has to go down and see them, why they do have an actual physical location,
Yeah.
where they can be, although that person's probably not gonna be in the office that much other than to do paperwork or something.
I mean, there will be times where they don't even have office space, I mean, yeah.
that's where the servers come in, that's where all of our lines come in too.
Everything can be,
The ideal spot. There's just miscellaneous stuff in there, right? Is that, what do we store in there?
it's all in your stuff right now.
I saw some more stuff, that's where I keep all of our ballots before to the, we're gonna have to find some place, when my election workers come in to get their ballots,
This is another issue, kind of long-term planning, we need some storage space. The county attorney's office had previously placed all their files up in the attic, and I think the engineers told us to quit doing that. And, so they're using a room that used to be an office, that's essentially just for storage of boxes.
Yeah, you got it.
And your office is.
You got the old county attorney's office on this side that I think the court used for just storage too.
Which is crammed full of boxes.
Yeah, there's vault up on the county attorney's office side, and then across the hallway, there's a vault back there that the district court uses as well. So there's storage of document space issues. And you're renting some space for, just election stuff.
Wait, can you put it there? Where's that at?
What,
Wherever you're storing your election stuff?
Employment office.
I store my machines down underneath the workforce, that I couldn't very well store my ballots outside. Until somebody, don't have space, and, I mean, I just,
It's not just you, it's everybody in that space.
Yeah.
I know some of the stuff we have to keep on hand for a while, but is there a limitation on some of that stuff? Can it be scanned?
Well, on the criminal stuff, there's really no, after an expiration of a sentence, I suppose they don't need to be kept, but, you know, some of the sentences are going to run for a long time, obviously. And then I would guess that, you know, you want to have a minimum of 5, 10 years on even sentences that are over, for criminal history purposes, et cetera. You know, it comes up in the county attorney's office, if someone's looking for a file that's 20 years old, it comes up more than you think it might happen.
Do you physically have to have it printed out, or can it be digitalized and you
Yeah,
just pull it up?
I think they could be, for the most part, digitized, and, that requires somebody to do it, the training to do it, and the time. But that's something I think that could be done by summer workers.
I think that was on your timeline, wasn't it?
This has now, all kind of records that can be digitized, yeah. Not that the IT guy and myself are gonna be able to do that. I mean, we'll be able to assist them and set that to our work, but physically having us scanning documents all day long for 4 months,
Yeah.
they would be hired summer employees temporary to do so.
Storage space has been a problem for the last 8 years that I know of. And it doesn't get any better.
You could keep your election stuff, you talk to the courts and keep all that stuff in the vault. Would it fit in there?
they have that, they go in, they have that, whatever, that ladder that,
It rolls around. Well, we just take that out and then choose that rod that's there again.
they use that prior.
What's in the vault in that room that we're
That's what I'm talking about, there's a ladder that rolls around in there.
If you digitize all those, then the ladder wouldn't have to be.
Those are marriage records, and I asked on it.
Probate,
Are they?
a lot of probate records, what they do.
The marriage records are probably probate records.
Huh? It was, yeah,
Yeah. They're old, and I thought she said they had to be kept forever.
yeah, but you could scan them or microfilm them, and it wouldn't have to get the record. It would be on the CD.
Yeah. It's gonna preserve it too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of stuff in that vault. A lot of stuff.
Well, 2 refrigerators will probably go out of that room. How much room does he need? Sheila still has all her stuff in there.
I mean, he's gonna need
And
a desk.
the phone stuff will go out too?
The phone stuff is up on the wall, will leave, yes. There's a new phone system, when we have to come to get it, it'll be a box that's big, an actual rack of servers. I mean, he's gonna need a desk. And we were talking about, moving the GIS, Roger, out of the appraiser's office, so he doesn't get interrupted as much. Moving the GIS and the IT guy in the same room, and there wouldn't be any foot traffic to interrupt him. So he can get all this work done, 'cause right now he's down there, he's working on maps, someone walks in and say the rest of the over at lunch or on break, and he has to stop what he's doing.
You can just switch hands between this for
Oh, I agree.
and put the IT guy back there too.
He could, but then he's gonna spend more time out there in that room. You know what I'm saying, 'cause he's gonna be working on the servers.
Well, who guards it back in there?
Oh, I agree, I said that a long time ago.
Well, let's get an inventory, let's get an inventory of what's in that room, what we need, what we don't need, and if we can move it to other places, I think that'd be the ideal situation. Be central to everything, you've got servers coming in, you get your lines, just makes the most sense that you would have that and work with an IT GIS west side of the appraisers. It's like when you come in the east doors.
Well, when you come
North
in the
doors,
north
sorry.
door, it's right.
Computer room, I've always called it, computer room.
Computer room. Yeah,
It's just got a bunch of
it's
stuff.
kind of the catch-all.
Yeah, it's, yeah, there'd be room for two, easy two people there.
Let's get like an audit or get inventory of what's in there, what people we need to keep, what we don't.
Well, then I need to find some place to put my stuff. And secure
You
place.
wouldn't have to get, your election ballots and all that can stay in there. Couldn't they, or not with us doing it, they couldn't?
Where are you gonna put the two people? We have a postage machine, where are you gonna put it?
They could stay there. What's the machine take?
What's in that back room on the first floor? Got it, got an elevator.
That's Sheila's.
It's shooting the room.
I thought the postage was in
That's where it was. Was it going back in there? Yeah.
because
It's quite a bit smaller now.
I know it's smaller.
She's got a lot of stuff in the computer room that she probably needs to get in back over.
There's already a desk in that room in there, in the computer room.
It was taken out when she put in her.
No, I'm saying, in the computer room, that, there, the desk was over there where the phone system is, was taken out.
That old wooden desk, it's not there anymore.
Huh. It's been down there, right? Okay.
Which, I mean, you could put a desk in it sometime, if you're taking it. You can do all of that.
I'm not saying you have to get all your stuff out. I mean,
No, I'll move my, electronic poll books down. So,
you know, I'll do that in your deed.
that, I mean, I just have some, I have several filing cabinets, which I need to keep mine.
I agree.
So if you can get rid of the one refrigerator that's downstairs, that's the old, I can move my one thing over that way.
Well, afterward.
Yeah, why don't you, touch base with the treasurer and see what we can clear out of there. Start preparing that, that'd be probably the perfect space for it.
That's separate, let's go to what's, where are you gonna want that brought to?
I'll probably, if it's
I don't even know what they
full,
are. Are they?
when they booths and stuff, probably down in the, underneath the, in the basement of, in the plumbing office.
I'll let you know, right? They haven't contacted me, they're supposed to give me the city manager's name or number.
You'll have to call me, I have a key to set it in.
Okay, I'll give you that, when I bring you that stuff, I'll pick up some stuff, so I'll get it.
Okay, so you guys approve this? With the
Yeah, they're gonna
of
change.
ballot resolution?
We're approving you to seek a position, right? Okay. And
Yeah.
You will bring, we'll still have to approve the hire you, right? Okay.
You're gonna have like a panel, how is that gonna be set? You're gonna have a technical panel,
There'll be 3 people on the these.
okay.
I'll make the beans I've come this far, I've crossed the 50% line. I move that we allow, Wes to seek a person to fill the IT, position that is, in the budget.
Nice, I'll second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You just get a good candidate and stay within the budget,
We will.
and you'll all be happy.
An update on the EMS building, it's all done, everything's moved back into it, they're running out of it.
We have ribbon cutting.
We actually do need to have enough now, because I had lots of Effingham people say that I want to tour. I think we should wait till after the ambulance, the new takeover, and just have an open house for the community out there, so I think.
We'll just coordinate with them and the community, and we'd like to, somebody from the city will be there.
Several of the women's groups said that they would make all the cookies and lunch and all that, and donate it, so they're all very excited. We'll work on that. Do you have anything else for me?
Must be it.
quit the, send snow, but no blowing, okay?
If I had that control, I'd be a very rich man.
You know, I told you the other day, I'm praying for 30 inches of snow this morning. I think maybe I prayed too many times, because
Yeah.
if we get into the,
We can do 30 inches as long as it snows 6 inches melt, snows 6 inches melt, and it stays on the ground.
that's about the only way, without about 2 major 8 or 9 inch rains, that we're gonna get water in our fall next week. Because I don't know how many people I've talked to, there's no water, no fall.
No, they're all.
The watershed dams are even got.
They are. This is the next one here that they got going. So, all right.
Yeah, we claimed 5.
There's a, yeah, thank you.
Chase, you have something for us real quick?
Two quick things. One, do we want to put in our current resolution any kind of exemption for qualifying senior citizens on fixed income? I know we don't do that for anything else right now as far as property tax, but in utilities, do we want to? Because we can use the Housing and Urban Development Guidelines, which pretty much everyone uses across the country as far as the threshold that you need to cross to qualify for keeping your utilities, because they're on fixed income, so any increase in utilities they can absorb. So if we want to put that into the resolution as well, or, because I've only come across about 3 or 4, but do we want to have that, be able to just approve those on an individual basis?
How much more complicated is that gonna make to me?
As far as,
I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense, and that's one downfall, is really inconsistent at all, is that, you know, it's, anyway, that's.
I think it's pretty common, like city, municipalities, I mean, I think it's something that,
That,
We should get amendments.
that retroactively never applied to.
moving forward, yeah.
In other words, I mean, to simplify things, would it be just even say, cut it in half? Or is it completely?
I guess that would be the next question, is it a reduced rate?
I think it's reduced, but I don't know what that percentage,
What I was gonna say, you
HUD
can
should have
find
some
out.
guidelines on that percentage. Could probably check with City of Atchison to see what, I know that they have utilities, city fees they have to deal with. That's basically what it is, 'cause we don't have any, you know,
And that's why we don't have it, is we don't provide any utilities.
utilities.
But it was brought up, so, I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on it. And then, timelines for starting the appeals, because that's another question. I know, a number of them can just be simple approvals. I mean, if people have provided enough paperwork in their appeal forms that it's, you know, we have a vacant lot, just get it started so that we can get that in. But then there are a number of other ones where either they'll need to come in. Yeah.
I think to take care of the simple ones first, and I assume that we will be the final hearing board on that, so my personal opinion is we probably ought to just set aside kind of a work day to do that.
Okay.
No other business, would that not work for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how many we're talking about.
On Friday, I can give you a number as to what we're looking at as far as rubber stamp approvals and ones that we have to set aside in hearing for.
Right, well, I would say we could, we don't have to do it all in one day, but
No,
we
that's
can
what I was
attack, you do as many as you can in the time which you allow for the meeting.
26, we don't have a whole lot, we just have budget numbers, that's why I was just curious if we could start some of those.
So we can do what we can, and we can, we'll see where we're
Yeah.
at, and then we can set another meeting.
Well, because I have currently 2 folders. Every appeal that was filed before the amendment, and everyone from now until the 20th, and then after the 20th to the 31st. So that it's a first in, first out kind of deal. So the first file folder has like 47. The current one has less, maybe 38, 40 of them. So we're looking at 80 right sign these, and then there'll be a handful of ones where people will meet their data to discuss. So, you said the 26th, that we should shoot for that, or set aside a non-commission, or
It's
not?
we have a 10 o'clock, and that's all we're showing, so I'd suggest we probably look at start doing, especially the first ones, to start taking a look at some of those.
Any specific date or a time, anything after 10 o'clock?
We'll take them all.
10:15.
If we can get here.
Weather allowing? Okay, and then days after that will be to be determined.
Yeah, I think we'll see how far we get, and then we'll look ahead at next year's calendar and stuff. And, I would think that, early on, we should be able to get, we want to get as much good out of Tom as we can. Is that possible, Tom? Well, you got 2 weeks vacation coming.
Yeah, we could tentatively set some stuff for second, doing some of the second as
Yeah.
well.
It's 10:30, I haven't got it up there, Matt called about fuel. It all depends on how long Joe is on the lentils. He might be able to do it at 10:15, but it all depends on how long it takes when you're discussing those.
Well, yeah, we can change that.
And it's just a fuel bid, so you have to take time.
Really just, we'll move on as fast as we can, otherwise we'll get into,
I have a question. You guys gonna have any criteria, to these appeals so that everybody is treated fair, or are you just gonna evaluate each individual appeal?
Depends on what type of property type. Residents, as listed in the notice that went out, there's 3 different things that would qualify, especially like vacancy. If it's like a vacant lot, or if there's like an unimproved, I think, building, I think that's what would.
Unlivable structure.
Unlivable structure, and then, you get into non-residential, there's obviously, other criteria. Obviously, if there was something wrong with data, or, like if there's.
Yeah, if people, a lot of them, if they have a rate that equates to 2 cubic yards once a week, and they want to reduce that to 1, or if they have 1, they want to reduce down the base rate. Those will probably need, people coming in and
explain the
they need,
situation.
yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be some subjectivity to some of that, but I mean, really the bulk is gonna be, that looks to me like there's gonna be enough criteria in there that you have. Probably let's say, a lot of appeals, there's gonna be a certain degree of subjectivity, in any kind of thing. But, yeah, that's a good point, we wanna make sure that, to deal with everybody as fairly as you possibly can. I think that's really the intent. Where we're at in this situation is we want to be as fair and reasonable as we can,
Those statements we sent out had the criteria listed on those, which I think they're up on our
Yeah, on the website. An arbitrary figure, about 80–90% of them are very straightforward. It's just people coming in saying, either it's a vacant house that hasn't been lived in, and they're gonna provide utilities, or statement of utilities, or things of that sort. Somebody's garage or shed, or is a house that's no longer livable, so they just use it as a shed, or something that has either a foundation still on it, but there's no structure there, so it's a vacant lot. So, those are pretty straightforward. I mean, if enough information is provided, it's just sign off on it and get it processed. But there are a few people that really do want to come up and talk to the commission about the policy or the solid waste fee or, and those are case by case, but most of them are gonna be pretty straightforward, so.
I would kind of suggest as a practical matter, not setting 10 of them all at the same time, and you end up with a little bit of the tendency to not pay as much attention to each particular one because you're trying to lump things together in categories. You don't want people waiting around, so it may be that you do want to set aside an afternoon on, or a Monday morning or an
And
afternoon
you
on
set appointments,
Wednesday.
I mean, you're gonna do so-and-so, you have to make sure there's appointments.
15-minute intervals or half-hour intervals, whatever.
And, those still qualify as public hearings, or are those?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
That would be, we talked about, we really need to get some sort of agenda or some sort of structured meeting set up, because this would be the perfect example of setting those times on a list, so, we've talked about it all year. I mean, this is something that we.
Talked about it more than you.
Yeah, it's something that we just need to try and hammer out. I mean, it's gonna save us time, it's gonna be a lot more efficient, we are gonna have surprise
Well, I think
showing up.
even some of the department heads can now just come up on the spur of the moment.
Yeah, we need to,
Plan, did they know what time they're coming up?
yeah.
New Year's resolution?
Yeah.
We'll plan our meetings from now.
And there was also talk, which I thought was a good idea, of having at least one meeting a month where all your department heads come.
Oh, yeah.
And so that you.
And that's where I think that would take care of a lot of that.
Well, years ago, we set up, department heads come in 9:15 and to 9:30, but some department heads have a longer story to tell, and others can run into trouble out there.
You can stagger it so that in the first week, you'll have clerks, treasurers, next week you'll have road and bridge, and then they'll meet that same time from that month going forward. And so it does fit with people's schedules, and we don't get log jammed with
Well, and I
other
think,
departments.
But you've got some departments that might need to see them every,
right, I
every
mean, there's no,
meeting, so it's
yeah,
not gonna-
we're, you think about it, it's,
they need to
you
let
know,
me
like
know.
Pauline's
if they're
office,
gonna
maybe,
As far as like purchase orders?
You know,
be- Not that, but if they have some, like Matt might have,
Matt's gonna have to meet us at least, I mean, that's gotta be.
it'd be nice if they would just let me know if they're gonna be in, but sometimes they just,
Mhm. That's the whole thing, is scheduling that time ahead, instead of just popping in like every meeting, because sometimes you don't necessarily. Do we have and related to that, like on the purchase order side, do we have a list of like what we have for limits on purchase orders? It seems like some departments, whether it's appointed or elected, there's different amounts that are,
I'd like to,
because Matt's got like a $500 limit, $500 doesn't get you tired on most of the equipment. Well, I'm just thinking like it would save us time if we had somebody with a limit that,
I think it was, they said a long time ago, elected officials like 2,500 and appointed ones were like 500.
is that something we change on the reorganization?
Huh?
Is that something we would change on reorganization?
Probably, I mean, I think it was a resolution that changed.
We should revisit that, take a look and see what $500 of road and bridge is not, that's not the only department, so.
Right, because, everything's budget, so, I mean, he has to be accountable.
Well, it's that coming up every single time, he has to get stuff prepared, so.
Okay, well. So, next Wednesday, 10:15, I suppose I can just call you guys on Friday and see, do we wanna slot people in for specific times, or do we want, is it first come, first served?
Now, some of those, like you said, there's like vacant lots or stuff, do we know
I'd
if we?
go through those first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say, let's tackle what you think is that, let's get those done, and then we'll get into the others. And like I said, we may just have to set a special work day, have to set aside 2 hours and stuff, work around everybody's schedule, and try to address, maybe set up, please.
So 2:15 until noon, are you gonna be longer than that?
I I would set it for 10:15 to noon, you know.
And we don't have any more
Okay.
appointments.
So those will be the ones that we can just look over, and then after that, we'll start setting times for people to come in and give their actual
If
hearings.
there is gonna be, you know, if it's not easy documented, like you said, you know, stuff that
Mm.
it's a little more complicated in the. You know, there's a dispute as to what our measurement is versus their measurement, because I think that's what you're really getting into it. I mean, I can see that's a possibility, you know, and stuff, so I mean, that, you know, yeah, but we need to address those in a little longer time slot and stuff, so.
Right.
And
Okay.
if you don't see you, have a Merry Christmas.
I'll be around. I'll be in the basement.
Safe place to be.
We start getting those blustery winds. Yeah, probably be a good place.
Chuck, it's
How's it going, guys?
So,
The reason I'm here, I'd like to file a petition to close a portion of the road. Pauline and I have been working on that for several months. I think she's got the paperwork for you,
I sent,
or maybe Mr.
I
Henderson
sent
does.
you, I sent you a letter, have you not received the?
No.
Okay. I don't think the county has to do the notice on that if it comes by petition, you need to do the notice. And that means notifying the landowners that are adjacent to the property to be proposed, and doing the publication.
I do the publication,
And-
is that,
Yes, and I checked your mail today, because I've sent you a letter.
okay, what does the letter say?
Well, explaining that, and sending you back a copy of the petition, so that you have it, I'm sure you have one, and a copy of the staff.
Well, I don't have the petition, do you have it, Pauline?
I have a copy, I think.
I'm returning it to you, so you have one.
Oh, okay.
It's with the letter,
Okay,
and then a copy of the statute that explains the notice part.
okay, now, there's no adjoining landowners, what, do I just have to publish that?
I don't know about the factual situation that there are no adjoining landowners. There's,
Well, what I'm saying is I own the property on both sides of that road.
well, but there would be contiguous property at the ends, right? Unless you're leaving.
I'm leaving some, I don't, it's all on me.
Well,
And I'm not closing a portion that's on me. Do you
if it
understand?
goes to a property line, then there are adjoining owners.
It's not.
And,
And that correct, Pauline, didn't we?
well, we're not making factual determinations. That's for the board of commissioners to make. So you'll have to make the factual determination as to who needs notice. And when you present the petition and present the proof of the notice that you sent, we'll make our determination as to whether or not it's correct. We can't do it for you, is essentially what I'm saying. So you'll have to prepare a petition, which you've done.
Right.
And you'll have to give the notice, and, you know, you can say that you're the only one affected by it, and I don't have any reason to doubt you on that, but we have checked. I have not checked that.
Okay, what are you gonna do to check that?
Well,
What,
we
you know,
check records with the treasurer's office, with the register of deeds office, et cetera. But we may not even get to that point, if notice isn't given, the publication isn't done.
so I need to do the publication, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
So when I do that, I go to the Globe and, give them the legals, or how, what?
You'll have to prepare a notice for them to publish.
Okay. Guess we'll do that.
So I'm surprised you haven't received that letter already.
No, I have.
All right, well, I'll check on that as well, but, I know the letter in the office.
Okay.
You talked about that, what, a week or two ago about this, didn't you? So he should have got the letter. on
Yeah,
it.
but I didn't get the letter sent that same day, but it's out by now. It's definitely out, I remember signing it, so. Okay?
Okay, that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
Do I need to get a copy of that from you today?
I'll
You mailed that, okay, that's correct. Okay. Very
Hopefully you get it
good.
with your Christmas cards.
Huh?
Hopefully you get it with your Christmas cards.
Yeah, maybe. I'll get to work on that, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Trash. I have a proposed contract with Deffenbaugh. The starting date of the contract is April 9th. We went, to change the ending date, so it would be December 31. So it's not exactly a 5-year contract, it's a little less than a 5-year contract by that far.
You can't just extend it to January 1, 2018. No, that wouldn't.
Well, I went to December 31, 2017.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
So,
Okay.
the new.
It's not exactly 5, yeah.
Yeah, it's from April to December.
Short, okay.
Deffenbaugh was wonderful to work at, because every time I made a suggestion of let's change it, their response was, hey, that's a good idea. So it, I think I think it's everything that we want. I have, I don't recall, did you have a draft of this before that I provided you with? So I would suggest maybe giving this to you today, and then next week you could vote on it.
You might have, I think it's been a while back. Draft.
Well, I thought a first draft might have, but my recommendation would be to adopt that it doesn't need to be done today, certainly. Deffenbaugh did want to have one signed. We've asked them to do some work on some things, and they said we'd be happy to do that after we have a contract. They planning on recycling and those sorts of things. I did talk with Brent Miller, who's the representative of Deffenbaugh that I've been dealing with. He will be here in January. I think it was the 16th maybe that we set up the meeting with the trash haulers.
January 16th.
January 16th. He will be here. I talked with Mr. Bay. He will try to be here. I sent a letter to Martin's, and I've not heard back from him. I tried to call him, and I didn't get an answer, so I just sent the same letter to all three of them. So. Contracts for court-appointed attorneys for juvenile misdemeanors, et cetera. I do not have the contract back from Kelly Plummer, but I think we could get authority for the chairman to execute those contracts so that they would be in place before the 31st. And I said that, and I can't put my fingers on it. There. The contracts are identical to last year's with the two exceptions. The dates changed, obviously, to make it for the calendar year 2013, and then the compensation was moved from $2,050 per month to $2,100 per month, and beyond that, they remain the same. These cover all appointments that we need for basically any kind of case, primarily misdemeanors, traffic offenses that have jail sentences possible, all juvenile offender cases, all child youth care cases, all guardianship cases or probate cases where the court is required to appoint an attorney, domestic cases, where the court is required to appoint an attorney, and any civil contempt action where the court is required to appoint an attorney. And it's essentially the same contract that we've used for the last probably 10 years. We made some tweaks to it a couple of years ago, we added a few things, but there have been no changes from last year. So I'm recommending that contracts for Andrew Waring, Robert Campbell, and Rex Lane be executed now, and the contract for Kevin Butler be executed, and have the original back from her. Spoken with her, and she's in agreement, just like the original back.
Mr. Chairman, I move that, we have the chairman on the contract, we just need one chairman signature, is that right, Tom?
That's correct.
For attorney services.
I would second that.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This is probably a dumb question, but I often wonder, when somebody goes up there and says, well, we need an appointed attorney, do we check to see if they have funds to, or we just take their word and?
Yes and no. They have to fill out a 2-page questionnaire under penalty of perjury with disclosure of income and assets. If there's reason to think that the information on there is inaccurate, additional checking can be done, but it isn't often done. You know, we have a court system in general that relies upon the litigants telling the truth about themselves, and that it may not be a good assumption.
We're trusting the person to tell us the truth.
Well, they're presumptively innocent at that point.
That's true, that's true, that's true.
Yeah, and there's a scale that's put out by the state of Kansas on the level of income that allows one to have a court-appointed attorney. And it's a fairly low amount for $10,500 per year. For example, if you earned more than that, you'd be ineligible for court-appointed counsel on a misdemeanor case. Now, you know, if you're charged with murder, obviously you wouldn't be able to spend $500 or $700 to hire an attorney. So that's going to be a little different guideline on the seriousness of the offense. But $10,500, I think, is the bottom for misdemeanors, and their household income, not individual income. So we've had that come up. You know, I stay home and take care of the kids, but my husband works, so his income counts.
And I've heard Asher declare people partially indigent and tell them that they have to pay about $50 a month or something.
Yeah, that's a Board of Indigent Defense Services requirement. We've talked about instituting as well, if somebody makes bond on their case, that is, they get arrested, and then they can spend $500 to hire a bondsman to get them out of jail, but they can't spend money to hire an attorney. In that situation, we've talked about having a fee for the application would essentially be the same as their bond, what they have to pay to get out on the bond. I think the judges are receptive to that to a degree. You run into other problems. Well, it wasn't my money, my mother posted the bond, or my grandma posted the bond, and she won't pay for an attorney, but she paid for me to get out. That sort of thing. I go back to jail, but Mr. Staley won't give us the money back. So it can create, I mean, there are problems with that, but the concept, if you can afford to get out of jail, you want to be able to afford to hire an attorney in this particular case. I don't know if that was the point you were making, but that point's well taken.
I've heard them refer to that $100 bid fee.
Yeah, your application fee.
And then on some of those felonies, like murder, people have to have, the attorneys have to be, there's only,
Yeah, they have to
there's
try
not really any better.
a certain number of
Fine.
high-level felonies
So, I mean, you got the date through December 31st, which is nice.
Yeah, I think everything is here. We need to be disciplined for that, so we know if we're gonna have anything in transition.
Yeah, that's what's not a new bill, just go sit down in court someday before. before you come up to county commission.
You know, you should, Monday afternoons are.
They may be coming up, here. They have some questions.
Monday
about
afternoon
trails
from
and
1 to
things.
2:30.
My thinking is.
It's an eye opener. I didn't realize we had that.
Well, I just, seen a paper about, we had 10 of them, 9 of them, court-appointed attorneys, and I thought, man, I still want officers.
Yeah, well, so you will fail your bill.
Still the version, we're kind of ramping up, I mean.
I know.
A lot of them are repeat offenders too.
Yeah,
$50.
Yeah. I was loading one bus up and shipping it off to New York City to solve a lot of the problems.
They was telling me that they're
No,
full.
seriously, I mean, that's a.
Right now,
that's a
it's all
place.
local inmates,
If they're
it's not
willing,
borders.
I think I got 15 arrests today.
I've heard about that, I know that there's something coming down.
It's them.
So I was wondering, I had called, I was told that they would be busy, I think starting at daybreak.
It may not matter a lot because we're already subsidized.
Yeah, well, it's not just gonna be less, I mean, the weight's obviously gonna be less overall,
Well,
because of, it's just lighter.
Are you talking about the minimum weights that are on there?
Yeah.
I talked with Nick about that, and because that was something we had, because Chase identified that our average now is below that number. And Matt assured me if we need to have them at that minimum weight, we will make sure that our needs that are under that minimum weight. That's, they can monitor that. So, they didn't identify that as a problem for us to meet the minimum.
Just calling you to see.
I need to get, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that was lowered, right, the minimum was lowered, I think, right? Yeah, it was one change they made.
From the original draft,
Yeah, wasn't it? I think they lowered those from the,
I don't think we have one with waste management, and those are the same as what were in there. I had suggested lowering it in my first response back to them. And, I made notes of that. Now, when I talked to Matt about what number it ought to be at, he indicated he wasn't going to higher. If he knew that they needed to be 18 tons, we would make sure that they were all above 18 tons before we went out. And he said some of the reason why we're below that now is the scheduling is sporadic with waste management. So if we have one that's two-thirds
Yeah.
full and there's somebody here, we don't send them away, we have to
I've heard
take it.
that.
And that combined, I think this assurance, we won't have that kind of problem with this sporadic.
It's probably really cost us more money. I think that's why we were talking about like the rate per ton last week or something like that, it seemed like it was.
Well, we're only paying per ton, not per trip. Well, I guess we're paying per trip on your surcharge.
Cause they've got a flat rate so much per ton.
Yeah, we pay surcharge now, but if this fuel price don't change it a lot, then we shouldn't be in the surcharge. But when, definitely not take for it, because based on 384,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
much
it's close, maybe a little less than that, or about that, depending on where you buy it. Here again, sometimes in the spring, those prices do start going up. But quite a bit of difference, I think we're at $3 and something surcharge base now, so,
$3, yeah, $3 a base rate,
so there's quite a bit of surcharge there.
yeah.
If this sales tax doesn't work out to kind of help this solid waste, how long is it gonna take to implement something else to take care of the cost? I mean, like tipping fees or something like that, is that something that's gonna take a while?
It's a good question, I mean, that's where that's the appointment of the solid waste committee. I would say that's probably something that they should probably address.
I think that's why we need to get started pointing that, because.
I agree with that.
Because, I mean, as, you know, as we go in, I really don't think a lot of people understand what counties, if the state does what they may do, that what we may be faced with, that even though this thing is in place, if they put a tax lid, property tax force, there's some things that we're gonna have to look at alternative funding sources that aren't related to mill revenue, which is use of fees, and that one right there is as bad as some people don't like it, is actually the best target, because as we're seeing, when you start putting a dollar figure that related to the trash that you haul out there, people begin to be a little bit more efficient and change their trash ways. But this thing's a whole lot more complicated than what, you know, and of course, we don't have a big forum here today, but I mean, I wish I had 10,000 people here to explain the possible dilemma that we may be put in if some of that legislation passes. And so, yeah, I think that's a good point, Phil. I think we have to analyze this particular situation. That's why I think this committee will be perfect and be an advisor to us. And I think that way we can engage the community people. You know, I think we were going to discuss today about starting the process of getting that committee appointed or selected so that we can they need to get started. And, because, you know, we're only 6 months away from the budget.
No, that's what my question is.
Right.
You know, I think Pat was gonna have, were you gonna have a copy of that statute?
I didn't print one out, but I have it. There are 5 categories of people that are supposed to be on the representatives of incorporated cities, not more than 5 from cities of the first class, 3 from cities of the second class, and 1 from cities of the third class. So it would probably be appropriate to just write to each of the cities and ask the city of Atchison to nominate a certain number, and the other 4 cities to nominate probably 1 for.
I just think that we need to make sure that every city, if you're based on the size, that's fine, every city needs to have 1 representative on there. I think we need to have at least 2 business people from Atchison here on it. We probably need to have 1 of the commissioners, because it's an advisory, and then we need to have maybe somebody from the rural, a farmer or something like that, somebody from the true ag sector. I mean, I think, you know, knowing the city of Atchison is a little bigger, if they want 2, I have no problem wanting to force them when they have 2, because I think the statute allows for that flexibility, so.
Well, and they're advisory only, so.
Right, exactly, that's what I mean, but I mean, that way, I think you cover pretty much all the bases and stuff, so.
For some members for the nomination.
I thought they brought lunch.
What?
Well, we need to, before we, I think they have some questions about some trails. We need to get that going. We do need to get letters, because I mean, the sooner we get that going, it'd be nice to get them the first
Well,
part of
can
January.
we attach it when we send out that invitation, it's gonna go to all the
There's
cities.
an awful lot to throw. I mean, I just
You want me separate?
I think we should send out several, and maybe it could just be as simple as Pat sending in
Yeah, that's
an
fine.
email
That
to,
won't be-
the formal, we probably should set the parameters on how large, how large it can be. So you said it was 5,
No, it's gonna be 5, and there are 4 other categories to be covered there.
I think you ought to cap it too.
so 5, 1, and 1? What was the, you said,
Well, there are 5
No more.
cities, so, well, no more than 5
For
from
the
city of
first.
first class, and that, city of Atchison is the only, city of the first class, and then, but it could be 1, or it could be more than 1. Then you've got representatives of businesses is the 3rd category. Representatives of the general public, citizens organizations, private industry, private solid waste management industry. So that's a pretty broad
Pretty good
category.
list.
I don't know if Martin's, if they would wanna.
I think you invite them, but I mean, the one thing you can do is, you can't force somebody, but you need to issue the invitation.
MGP, Bradken, which invite.
Which Mize is what
Which
I was
Mize?
thinking, they acted like they would be interested in being involved in that
Are.
community. Yeah.
No, not only big, I mean, maybe a small business one too.
Yeah.
Like maybe a hardware store.
Or photography studio. That could also be an at-large suggestion. At least get, I think we should,
We're gonna be more than 10 if we invite.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna go to trouble, but I mean, if you get it much bigger, you're gonna, then sometimes people have tendency, well, you got plenty of people that have to show up,
So I will send a letter to the city of Atchison asking them to nominate someone to be on, or to appoint somebody to be on the
Yeah.
committee.
send it registered mail so they make sure they get it.
How many? One?
Well, we can go up to 5, I mean,
We have to decide how.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, if there's one official representative, you're gonna have people from Bracken and
Right?
small industry.
I guess we could probably just leave it up, you know. 'Cause
Well, each of the small cities each have one representative?
Cities of third class would have like 1 rep.
I guess I have a little bit of a, when we have 2/3 of the population and.
No, we're
Yeah.
not saying that's the minimum, we're saying.
Okay.
That, the max you could.
Have,
you could
okay,
put is 5.
okay. I was just a little concerned if
Yeah.
each of the 5 cities were each having one person, we have 2/3 of the population living in the city of
Yeah.
Atchison, that seems a little,
But they have to be included.
what?
They have to be included.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I just feel that we should have heavier representation than those cities, not saying that they should not be.
No, that's what, we're just saying, Pat's gonna
Okay.
send email notifications to cities on nominating, so, no more than 5
Okay.
from cities of first class. But we're trying to define like how many, the total group, I mean, right now you're probably looking for like 10 to 15 easy, would be just looking at that, not to get something like 20 or more, but.
Well, how many would you like?
If it's up to 5, I'll leave it up to
You would like?
I'll leave it up to our commission.
Okay.
Just go ahead and send an email.
People love serving on committees.
Just send out emails and notifications.
Well, advisory committees are easy.
Doesn't really like maximum amount.
It's when you have to make the vote.
Sure, okay.
Maybe, I don't know, there's some of those other businesses we talked about, they'd be interested. Representing the city of Atchison?
Ready for us, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
All right. Come on up, everybody.
It helps as well.
You got good goodies today.
We've had,
Cinnamon rolls and stuff are from the health department.
That sounds about, our weigh-in day is tomorrow for city employees, so I think,
Hold off on the cinnamon rolls.
except for maybe somebody in the group,
just wrap one up.
they're giving reckless disregard to the weight loss challenge this time.
Thank you for doing
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioner Wagner, my name is Trey Hawkins, I'm the city manager with the city of Atchison. With me today is Stephanie Lee, our Community Development Director, Becky Anderson, our Assistant City Manager / Finance Director, it's been a long morning already, and Megan Carroll is with Mocan Regional Development here. We have an exciting opportunity that we found out about recently. KDOT has grant funds that are expiring, $15 million in what they call transportation enhancement funding. These projects are limited to trails.
They have to have a historic, or it has to have a transportation, obviously, relationship, and then either historic or, I think, like recreation or something like that. Environmental.
It's, you have 3 different categories. You either do it with regards to history, so sort of put like a preservation, like a historic depot or something historic and transportation related. Bicycle and pedestrians, this isn't necessarily, that's something that can be used to expand or, you know, resurface a road. It has to be used for bicycles and pedestrians, or scenic beautification. So if you're restoring a wetland along a path, or if you're, you know, putting trees and decorative fencing along. So it's in those three categories you can ask for funding.
And that would then include, I assume, part of the trail system that's existing in part of the county is up along Levy. I assume that would probably include it in.
I think that Riley County and one county out there, they got into a deal on that a year or so ago. Transportation between the cities, Manhattan and Fort Riley and stuff like that. And I think it's working out real good for them.
Good.
It is working out well for them?
Mm-hmm.
Good. This opportunity is a rare one where they have a lot of funds compared to what they traditionally have available. And it excludes every city that's in a metropolitan transportation district. So it's going to include your big cities, Topeka, Wichita, the Kansas City region. So we have a really good chance at some of these monies that are available. And we are submitting two projects. One project is entirely inside the city of Ashland, and we're looking at US 73 from 10th Street, or from US 59 out to Ravenhill Road. We have a lot of folks who'd like to access the hospital, like to access Walmart, and we have really no good way. We have disabled folks who can't do that. So that project's coming in a little over $1 million that the city's going to submit on. The match criteria is anything over 20%. I think on that one we're going to propose 20%. Then the second project that I spoke to Chairman about briefly, but the second project that we'd like to team with you guys, if at all possible, this would be for the 2014 budget year if we're awarded. They should let us know before, grants are due in February, so they'll let us know before budget season whether or not we get the grant. But this would be for River Road from, we're proposing where the current system ends. They're just south of the Zook all the way to connecting to the levee system, and then connect across the levee and then up to Wilson Park Trail. But we think it will give us a very nice path. I have heard a lot of feedback from citizens who would like to see something done that way, but we'd like to see, and right now, even though the vast majority of it, and we'd have to figure out exactly, we could find out how much road would be inside the city, how much would be on the outside, and work out a split that way, or we can do it 50-50, or you guys can tell us that you're not interested, which we hope not, because it's just a tremendous opportunity to get a lot of funds. And you know, this is one of these things I've heard for a long time since I've been here, that people are really interested in us expanding that trail and doing something to move forward. But we'd love to see you guys participate with us and make this a reality. And from a transportation place, from a systematic thing, I think it would be great. It is amazing. You know, as soon as it gets warm, I invite anybody to go out and see how many people are out on the existing trail. And it's not just tax from Ashland. I mean, it's people coming in from all over. So it's a draw. It's folks who are coming out, and being part of this community. And the other thing I will say, I know you guys are looking at widening River Road a little bit. You know, this definitely will improve safety, because right now we're looking at getting off of River Road. Because a lot of complaints I've heard about is, you know, I've been there myself, riding my bike on River Road, is you have a lot of truck traffic and bikes and pedestrians and reckless teenage kids. I was out Friday night and got ran over 3 times by teenagers driving in excess of the speed limit. So I did not have my orange outfit on. Yeah, it was in the county. Yeah.
Trey, what are you talking about doing? Just making the road wider and making it designated?
Yeah, we're talking about, once we get past Mizzou, having grade separation and we're gonna have to secure it right away from the Abbey. We've had preliminary conversations with them. But, you know, we go along the road and maybe, you know, as we get down in here, we might separate off the road, even additionally. I mean, that's gonna be up to the Abbey what we can obtain from them, and we finalize those conversations with them, but we've had preliminary conversations.
And like have a golf cart size?
It'd be 10 feet wide, which is what it calls for to have, bidirectional and to have bicycles and pedestrians.
And paved?
And
Asphalt?
4 inches of asphalt.
We did look at rock, but the difference was, in cost was actually not.
I think it's about $100,000
Yeah.
difference, and then when, you know, KDOT's paying 70% of that, and, you know, we do split it, I mean, we're talking minimal difference out of pocket for a much better surface.
You know, the initial cost and the projected upkeep cost.
Upkeep cost, Dave, what, I mean,
I don't know, like Gary might give a little more.
Probably occasional sealant, probably every 2 years would be my assumption.
Yeah.
I'm just going off of what they do, not the ballparks is what they do, but I've been told like the pedestrian traffic's not as heavy a traffic as rock, and I think that they generally recommend like sealing every 2 years, sealing it is not.
Yeah, you know, basically what you're trying to do is protect that surface, so sealing would be a good preventative.
and most, and I mean, we can crack seal on house, we can do, you know, really, and we're probably looking 25, 30 years out before it would have to be replaced, just based on, and that's in total replacement, so, and that's based that on what I've seen as far as residential, you know, and this would be similar to residential application, I mean, actually less than that, but we would have the ability to maintain it, and, you know, we'd be open to an agreement, hey, you guys wanna go in early, and then we're responsible for maintaining it for the first ever, or 30 years, or whatever, I think we'd be open to some sort of that.
And we would be the applicant as well, you wouldn't have to, the county wouldn't have to deal with the administration of the project, or, you know, I mean, we would do all
Mocan's
of
gonna
that.
write, Mocan will be writing the grants, and
This is an estimate, this is like
This is
turnkey, so it'd be like turnkey.
turnkey, and, you know, some of those costs are, variable, more than likely we'll be able to do our own in-house, construction engineering, we'll do our own in-house design on it, we'll have to contract out some of the survey and stuff, and then, you know, the other big variables that right away, what we can end up acquiring the right away for.
You know, we got projected next year to do our share of River Road, the new base and stuff, will that help any, I mean, by having some of that done, is that,
I think that will help
effective?
that will help the application,
Yeah, help the application.
actually, because it shows that, you know, there's a commitment to improving that
Well,
road.
what I'm saying is, so
You know, because we're gonna be off the surface, our plan is off the, great, separate, and, I mean, if I may first,
you know,
but, show you guys kind of here. We will have to be along the street, as we get past Mizzou's and past the fish house. And kind of once we get past the fish house, at that point, we'll separate from the road and probably run, you know, kind of somewhere like through here. Give it just kind of a more separated feel, more nature feel than being right on the road, and much safer than having pedestrians and heavy truck traffic.
Obviously, we could offer.
And teenagers.
On some of the expenses, we could probably help reduce with some labor, or, I mean, if we have equipment to do it, or,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily.
And right now, this,
normally it goes out for bids and
Okay,
everything, and a contractor does it normally, so,
okay.
but you know.
I'm just thinking like some of the land prep stuff is usually something that you can do ahead of time, and that's just.
Well, yeah, but when you contract,
Depends on
they're gonna have to
contract.
have certain, contracts.
That's fine, I'm just.
the nice thing with a contract, at the end of the day, if something's not right with the contract,
They're.
it's an easy place to go, and
And if we come in and try to just.
You know, well-
One shovel of dirt, and that's.
county didn't have it compacted right, or, you know, you just get in finger pointing. And fingers usually point right back at the owner.
Only area I think you probably, is right away or
Yeah.
acquisition of land for it, might help, but I don't know.
If this trail goes through, would that give the county different options on that road? Because it's now the bike trail, would this be considered a new bike trail and give us different options on the road?
As far as like what type of options?
Maybe not have it blacktopped?
Could, I mean, it's pretty well used, I mean, by truck traffic and I mean, conservation and, well, I mean, it's pretty healthy.
Well, what my question, could we spread it out, maybe just go with a rock road and then eventually get the base built and spread the cost out over maybe 2 years?
We could, I mean, we've already got it built into, we've got some of that's the FEMA dollars are requiring us to put it back at least to what.
Well, I think that
what it
might
was.
be subscription, because it already has hard surface there
Yeah.
in FEMA, and that would be nice knowing, because I know in visiting with you guys, Trey, you guys are hoping to do something similar with your section, you know, getting a better, but I don't think would be nice if they would extend that FEMA money one more year so we could get it all coordinated and do all at one time, you know, I think we could really maybe.
And I would think on grant application, that, I mean, at that point, you guys probably have a fairly good excuse to go ahead and get it extended. I can't, obviously.
Well, we've had extended 1 year though, right? Because
Well, this is 2010 FEMA. We didn't get very much for 2011, surprisingly, but 2010, that's what the FEMA funds. And then we were told that we wouldn't probably be able to extend beyond 2013. That's what was told to us.
Well, that's also where making a phone call to DC can help out too.
Well, yeah, I would say it's not an option to possibly.
I would think of Marine Energy to what it's called, mechanism. And it's an option, awesome.
Has there been any, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Has there been any talk or thought with Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks getting some trails back in the bottoms area? I mean, there's some there, but they're really tough gravel.
There is, and this is where I have to be, yes, there is funding for wildlife and parks, but that really starts getting out of our jurisdiction.
Well, it'd be nice if there was kind of a destination, if you rode that out there, if there was something to do.
Lewis and Clark Park would be the destination currently. I mean, that's what we submit the grant as.
Well, but are you talking then about paving all the way out to?
We would pave to the levee.
And then the levee would connect to.
Then the levee would connect to the park.
So that, yeah, the levee is a different surface, so if you're on a road bike
And
riding out.
is that a core levee or is that
Of course, yeah,
Yes.
of course, most of it.
Okay. We will be contacting, Core that is supporting them for this project.
There's a drainage district locally, that owns it. It's managed by the Corps, governed by the Corps, but the local work on it, it's owned by a local district.
Okay. So we probably should get in touch with the local district as well.
Yeah,
Aren't you?
yeah, I'm aware of
Okay. Do they meet very often, once a year?
that. They meet 4 times a year, they just had a meeting, Monday.
And we probably by first week of February, we need
Yeah.
to meet with them.
They could have a special meeting.
Okay.
Be better if we did.
In January,
Yeah.
January sometime, we could have a special meeting.
The application is due February 15th, I think.
They've indicated in the past, they have no problem with opening the top of the levee up for the bike traffic on it. But paving it is problematic because it's also used for agricultural uses, and so it's gonna have, if you're gonna pave it, it's gotta be enough to have a grain truck.
Yeah, and I don't think we're necessarily stuck on paving.
The
We're
rain
just-
trucks
we're-
wouldn't want that.
We were just wanting to
No,
connect.
Combines.
Yeah, we just went, I mean, we were looking at lots ourselves, but there was just such a small difference in.
There are parts of the levee that
And the cost.
generally you can get to it, parts of the.
100,000 here.
So they do drive heavy equipment on it, and it's okay, I mean, they're designed for that.
Okay.
But if you put in a road, the road has to be able to handle that kind of traffic.
Our thought is the pavement would stop and then rock trail on the levee, or what it is now.
It'd be nice nice to have that all the way around already. If you can't run it like that, but it's hard.
So what do you need from the commission?
I would love a motion to say that you guys support the project and would sponsor it with us.
It could be 2014.
I think it's something to look into.
I think it's something to look into. I'm not sure I'd be ready right now. I mean, I want to.
Come on.
No, I think it's a good idea, but this is, I mean.
No, it's real dollars.
It's real dollars, and, you know, I'm gonna be real honest, 2014 wasn't scary with the legislation. And,
I mean, and the thing is, if we'll be awarded this grant in May, and by that time, we should have a pretty good picture of what the legislature does too. When it first started, then we get done.
That's why I'm not for sure, and I wanted to find out from Matt, I mean, what, you know, to me, if this other thing could be, you know, postponed, because it just looks to me like there's a lot of coordination can be done here, maybe even a little more money.
Well, and, you know, the other potential benefit would be to let one project. You know, if you had one contractor doing, I guess you guys were gonna do yours in-house.
We'll have to do ours in-house,
Yeah.
because that's the way we had it budgeted as far as that goes. But, I mean, at the same time, it may fit into, if we got that extension and you guys decided to do yours, then we'd be fixing the whole thing. I mean, you'd be getting your side of the river room fixed up and it'd match ours, you know. So, you know, I think it's a good idea. I think these projects, I hate to take action on just spur of the moment.
I understand, Mr. And like I said, we had our meeting at 9:30 this morning, and said, we probably need to
Well, I appreciate
take the commission's temperature on it.
Have you gone to your commission for approval yet? No, okay. So you're just trying to discuss, okay.
I mean, we need to get, I mean, there's some reality, I mean, you know.
I lean, but I'm not ready to vote. Okay?
Now, just so you know, we probably need to know by early January whether you guys were in or not.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want, what,
We in January?
early January.
Early January.
Just because I don't want to have to go through the expense of drafting doing all the work on this and then.
And that's, I mean, we're gonna be making a transition, I'm glad Bill's here to hear that too, so because I think some of our online may need to, Bill and Tom need to confer so that Tom doesn't lay something on Bill, Bill's not in support of.
Just to be clear, that the grant, applying for the grant does not commit us to the grant.
Absolutely.
We have to accept it once it's awarded, so this would not be the final.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good.
And especially if there was something,
Funding is.
if there was something legitimate, like, hey, M&E happened, and, you know, we're all in that spot with that, you know. And that's the easy reason to turn down us.
What was the grant to Hiawatha? That's a federal.
That was a federal
Federal
grant.
Highway Administration.
Yeah.
And they had, another grant, I think, from the Sunflower Foundation as well, that was a much smaller part, most of it was federal highways, a larger chunk.
We think this would be a really strong application because of the partnership, and the more people you can show that are organizations that are involved and in support of it. I mean, I think they have a really good chance of getting funded.
And we're gonna talk to the Riverfront Committee about probably not helping with the actual brick and mortar of the road, but helping with some enhancements along with whether it be benches and some things
Oh, okay.
like that.
Complimentary
Complimentary type features.
Okay. Well, considering, you know, our health rankings, I would think that exercise trails like this probably fit in pretty good with any type of long-term plan.
And I believe that when you guys did, the visioneering, or when you guys had, that trail was something that came up,
For Live Well,
or,
the young professionals. they
you
did.
know, Department of Justice, when they did that community.
Oh, yeah, Vision Quest.
Vision Quest,
Yeah, Vision Quest, when, I don't know who all was participating in that, but yeah, that definitely came up as a really big topic, was trail development during that. Plus it's come up, heavily in Live Well with Atchison activities, and then the city had, kind of done some sort of more informal, small stakeholder meetings with, some younger professionals in the community, and again, trails came up, so, the chamber's talked about it
The
too.
tourism committee has been very,
Mhm.
very interested in getting some trails.
Yeah, so there's definitely, larger community, stakeholder meetings that have taken place where trails come about that, very specific topics, so we're pretty excited about this opportunity.
Okay. 367. 44.
Give us something to talk over Christmas.
Yeah, so, we will, get back with you guys probably the week of the 7th.
Okay.
If that works with the commissioners.
It's a great
Yeah.
idea. I don't, obviously quality of life and enhancements, obviously economic development, I could see there'd be a lot of support overall.
And honestly, economic development anymore comes down to really three things. Let's say it comes down to three things. One's workforce. Do you have the workforce? Hey, if I'm going to locate 400 jobs here, I need to know that you guys have the people to support it. Number two is cash incentives. In the state of Kansas, there's a few communities that have these massive sales tax spots. Parsons, Kansas is one of them. They can get a new business $250,000. But, most places in Kansas, we have cheap land prices compared to the metro area, so we compete very well on the incentives type thing. And then the third thing truly is cost of, or quality of living. Hey, when I have my execs relocate from somewhere, is there things for their kids to do? Is there good education? And that's something that they look at almost as strongly as anything else. And having strong recreation is a part of that.
That's a valid,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the deal. Applying for the grant is one thing, but getting the grant is another thing. And you're not gonna get it if you don't apply for it, so I've been in favor of supporting it, at least through the application process.
Yeah, if we're just applying for it, it doesn't bind us.
Right, that's.
It's just, we have to show, this is where the funding,
Sure.
they wanna know that we're capable of making that match.
Okay.
Doesn't tie us, and we understand, I guess we would ask, as long as conditions on the ground don't change from, significant legislation, change that, major disaster, any of those things, and obviously change funding priorities.
Mhm. Yeah.
We'll get back to you guys.
What do you think here? You're gonna have to deal with it.
Well, if they could do them the same time you do the road, I think a lot of these costs the county could provide for our share, so I don't think we're looking at that $123,000. I think we could do it for, less.
Well, and if we can do the construction engineering in-house, not save us $50,000.
I think
each.
Phil Winkler, we need to look at that and make sure that we can meet the engineering standards too.
Yeah, we have, Dave.
It sounds simple,
Yeah.
but I think it's a little more complicated.
We have one thing we have, among many professionals we have in our organization, we are probably one of the smallest cities in the state of Kansas that has a licensed professional engineer on staff. So Dave can design it. Him and his assistant are both certified inspectors through the state of Kansas to do it. Our biggest concern is just what we have in the pipeline. Because at the end of the day, for us to have Dave design a project saves us a lot more money than to have Dave inspect a project. So if Dave needs to be designing the project, we outsource inspection just because that's where the bigger dollar tip comes in for us, is that design work versus inspection. But if the pipeline's clear, and I think US 59 's done, right now we're looking at a fairly clear pipeline right now. Obviously, once things could change, but our pipeline is fairly clear right now. But so we get there and see everything for sure. So our focus for 2014 is really the acquisition of a new aerial fire truck is what we're looking at that year. Looks like a 30-year-old, or 1981, or
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I think, I think Bill brought up a good point, just as far as, I think this is just an estimate based on turnkey, but we can probably save quite a bit. We'd have to check on those FEMA funds, if we could extend that to 2014, my fear would be losing those funds miraculously.
Yeah, what I've advised before, I would go ahead and make a written request, let them know what's going on. CC, both senators and Congresswoman Jenkins on that request. And then, if you want to appeal it at that point, then at that time, the folks from DC more involved.
Yeah.
So, but that, I mean, that would be,
Well, now the time to get.
yes, I would submit that letter early versus later.
Yeah. I'm fine with it, I think it's a good project, doesn't really commit us to any, just getting the ball rolling. So,
Yep. I'll see about the sewer there first, but whenever, if we can do that and stuff, then I'll be ready by just a little early for me to make a vote on.
Well, on something like this, I think we're better off with a 3-0 vote on January 9th than, rushing something today. So, plan on being back on the 9th and, talking about that morning, if that works with you, commissioners.
Okay. If we can all get here. It's like the weather patterns changing.
Yeah. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Commissioner-elect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pauline and Mary.
Here.
Counselor.
Here we go.
Mandy Cobby was your juvenile, I don't know how many you have, appointed, but Mandy Cobby was the juvenile justice.
Yeah, no, it'll be done right upstairs.
But they were calling us looking for a rep, and I left them a message saying that Commissioner City wanted to.
Went by the county. He has a deal, said he wouldn't be willing to be.
He looks just like me. I don't think I've met you.
I'm Becky.
Becky.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Yeah. Michael Corey Webb.
I haven't known you.
Corey's already,
Well,
pretty fresh. Guys are really, you'd be good. I'd be like, if you want to inquire,
What?
in case you'd be interested. or-
Yeah, I'll get with you. And then the other thing is Mocan, Tom, Christine, and Stephanie are currently your appointees for Mocan. Stephanie?
Well,
There's always plenty of that.
Tom's rolling off, I'm replacing Tom.
You're replacing Tom. I don't know.
When is, or the other stuff?
Stephanie's your appointee. Hey,
Yeah, exactly.
Stephanie,
Yes,
is Christy still active in Mocan?
she is still a member, yeah.
Is she still attending?
No, she
Okay.
hasn't been, Mocan Development, she's part of, but that's as part of shelter insurance, so she's a corporate member for Mocan Development, but no, I
But
haven't.
she's still a county appointee.
Yeah, no, she has not been in a while, and, this year, she's looking newer. Christy Isaacs,
Oh, I don't remember.
it would've been last year, I think, last time I saw her at a meeting.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years since she
Yeah.
went to a meeting.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Any suggestions on,
I know I'm a county member,
Yeah.
and you've been a county member, so then
I'm taking over.
you're taking over for Tom.
Alan, Jack, and Gary here are our
Right.
representatives.
And Gary is a regular, he's there pretty much every meeting.
And Jack.
Alan hasn't been in a few months, he used to go more regularly, Alan used to.
I don't know that
Jack,
Jack.
I haven't seen there,
But I think we even left Jack, I don't think we ever changed him when
Yeah, yeah.
Jack was off commission,
I need to appoint.
so,
Yeah, it'd be nice to have at least one more person from our area that would be a regular.
Actually,
attendee.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause there's
no,
a
somebody.
lot of Missouri folks, we have like 3 of us from Kansas.
And, if you guys can think of somebody, from the small business person who talks to a lot of other small businesses, just because there are a lot of loan programs and stuff available, so.
Yeah, just having
You have somebody
that.
who's plugged in there who, when people are looking for opportunities, could steer them the right way.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because not everybody comes to us, I mean, a lot of people go out and, talk to us before we even find out something's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you for coming up.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you. Y'all have, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, yes, sir. Merry Christmas, Commissioner-elect.
You got 6 days to change your ways before Santa comes to visit.
I know.
He's getting cold.
Let us know.
So we're gonna get, who's putting the letter out for solid waste.
Yeah, I can get ahold of Marianne and
We'll find out kind of what that process is, and we'll get a letter after, because I'd like to get some input on this, because we're gonna go in there, because I know what Matt was talking about, to put some drain tiles in there. Then when they go in and do the southern, they go digging, they're gonna rip them out, you're gonna have to repair it. So it makes sense to me, if we do decide to engage in this, it ought to try to be done all at one time, rather than. I mean, that's the first.
Yeah,
probably should have.
You know what I'm saying, 'cause
we got quite a bit, chunk of money there sitting there. We need to see if we can get that extended for another year.
Well, it's close to $60,000, I mean, not to say that ain't a lot of money, but I mean, it is significant, but, I hate to, I sure wanna pursue that other first, and if we could get it extended, I really feel a lot more on board, but otherwise, I'm just on the hair hesitant, because I'm afraid we're gonna tear up some of the work that we're gonna go in there and do, so. I don't know, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I'm just a little concerned.
It is if they get the grant.
Well, I'm not, we're not tied into it, but I mean, I think there's still a lot of iffies there that need to be answered before we get going too fast, but, it's a great idea, but, okay, well, if you guys get that started, like, we've got 3 weeks before we have to tackle that, so. Did we agree to go ahead and pay that first half of Hayes?
Yeah, we already, Schuer's already done that.
Well, should we, what I'm wondering is, if we pay the next half, next year, where's it gonna come out of? Otherwise, if it looks like we're gonna have enough employee benefits, we just go ahead and pay it for next year, and then have to pull it out next year, so. I mean, it's kind of one half goes the other, but
Sure.
if it's a matter of whether we just go ahead and get it out of the way.
When are we gonna close out?
When we close out, they close out February.
1st of February. So we'd have like through January if we issued pay that.
Then we would know.
So we have, okay, as long as, all right.
Yeah, I agree with you, get that before we break it up into each department.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of breaking it up, because it's, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's surprising when I look at that budget, that
It is a
they're really good at their work, so.
Otherwise, it'd just be an option, otherwise.
Because everybody thinks that's the thing.
There's always county general.
County general.
So that's what we consolidate that.
Right, yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
that's great, I just wanna make sure that there's might as well, it clean things up, because we're gonna need to be talking to them about extending or relooking at, the next year, won't we?
Yeah, that'd be something I think it comes up in April.
April.
Is that when I think it comes up?
Hey, was the contract Hayes, April, started in April or 1st of May, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
And we gotta get hold of it, we want a better cooperation from the state this year if we can. Of course, they got a lot of the data now, but I mean, it took forever to put us behind the 8 ball. Now, were we extended, were you assured that we weren't gonna get a price increase for the rest, or for 13, until 13?
So the state issued to us, so the state council issued to us.
Got your ears lowered, huh? Got your ears lowered, huh?
Yeah, about a week ago. About ready for now.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, John.
3 or 4 things I just want to kind of put a bug in your ear about, and then I got prices on the Durango and the equipment and everything. I'll give to you, do whatever, but coming in just a little under 14,000.
That's
11.5 is what we paid for the Durango, and then I got the lights and I got 2 flashlights and 2 radios. And so anyway, I'll give that to you.
That's what you paid for, or that's what you think it's worth now? Is there-
Well, the radios are everything pretty much new. I don't know what we've had less than 6 months. I probably put,
You had 45
Three.
on it, didn't it?
what did it have, 45, it's got 51 or so
I'm
now.
trying to think, one of them had a little under 50 and the other one had a little.
Yeah, it had 40 some, but I think I put about 5,000 miles on it, so. That's the value of replacing, I mean, so whatever you come
Well,
up
it
with.
was fair, I don't think, even if at that value, it's still what you bought it for.
But that's kind of what we paid and got in it, and it's pretty smooth. They just want to keep the equipment that's in it and the
Well, you don't
lights
have,
and
you
everything.
don't have installation costs, I mean, I have no problem with that, because people buy vehicles a lot of times, and they appreciate the fact that you make a good buy sometimes, I mean, even though you use.
And there is $300 to replace radio. I mean, at least for you to look at and decide what you're gonna put back in, and then most all that was taken out of the capital improvement fund, so we put it back in there, I guess.
In the sheriff.
My suggestion,
Yeah, that's what we were thinking, just transfer into the capital improvement.
and then they can do what they want, I mean, as far as replacement, but tell them to put it back in there. There's 4 things off the top of my head I can think of that I've been doing for a while for the county that's gonna should go, it's your call, but probably should go to Pauline, but the purchasing cards, I've been a purchasing card administrator for the entire county for quite a while, so I would assume it'd be best to go to Pauline, but whatever you guys wanna do on that, I told her I would give her the stuff. I am having a little battle with them.
Is that the gas?
No, that's the purchasing cards, every department, pretty much every department has it used.
UMB.
Okay.
And we do get like a 2% rebate annually. I've got a check that I've been holding for about a little over 6 months now, because I told them last year, and they did it last year, well then when I got it this year, they didn't do it again, but I wanted it broke down per department, because departments all want to be reimbursed their 2% of what they spend, and that's how you get the departments to use them, is give them that. It's only like $800 and some, but, if senior village is using theirs a lot, and nobody else, they should get the bulk of that rebate, or I don't know if you guys just want it to go to you and not back to departments, but I have one check. And I'm trying to get them to give me the data that tells me how much to each department, so we can do it that way. And I've got email after email, and I'm still.
So the company knows that breakdown?
Yeah. And there is some new online training that whoever takes it over can do to try and keep better track of that. So we don't run into this problem again, because last year I had to fight them to get them to break it down. This year I had to do it again, and they will provide that training, so that's one thing. The WEX online card, which is the fuel cards, is the other thing that I've done for all the departments for quite a few years. That's a little more simpler, but every time an employee quits, comes on, that drives a card, someone's gotta go in, remove, add, delete, whatever, so that's the other thing. In the county policy manual, there's several. The one that I think is critical that you need to get done right away is the equal employment opportunity officer, or the one that investigates discrimination, and that's, I don't know if Pat wants to do that, or who's gonna take that over.
I should be.
Yeah, probably conflict there.
But anyway, that's another thing that probably needs to be done before something happens, and then you're trying to figure out who it goes to. There was 4 things.
There's two, you're right. 2 EEOCs.
It's me.
I thought Peggy.
I thought Peggy was also EEOC.
I don't think so in policy meeting. If it's a complaint in the sheriff's office, I think somebody else does it. But other than that, I don't know, look in there, but I think it just states me, and, there's a conflict if I do my own, if there's a complaint against me, so
Sure.
I think that's where she might fall in. Purchasing cards, fuel, that. I think there was another one, but I did not advance it.
How about your, 911,
Joint communication.
Now,
Drew Casey, you're the chairman of that board. If I remember right, you did those.
I don't know. My honest opinion, and I think it's worked good since I've come on board, but someone needs to just have oversight, and it's no offense to Kim that's in, but where historically we had problems is when they didn't have someone that they had to answer to. And I don't know if you wanna go back to a form where the commissioners wanna have more oversight, but the reality is it was previously some of them positions were just not coming to work or didn't have any oversight, and that's why, I don't know what it was, probably 4 or 5 years ago when the board at that time decided to have me the overall director, and that was a $3,000 compensation. We talked about, at that time, either Chief Wilson, Chief McDermott, or myself doing it, and it kind of come down to they really didn't want to do it, and I ended up doing it, and I've been doing it ever since, so. I don't know if you want to change anything there.
Do you have like any job description? I mean, you just did, but I mean, if we move it to somewhere else, we kind of need to know what all you did and entailed, so that person doesn't think that this is just $3,000, you know.
Well, I can tell you in a nutshell what I did is I mean, and if you want a job description, I'm not sure, I'd have to look through all my job descriptions down there, I don't know if anyone was ever prepared, I can't remember, but
Well,
I have
understand.
monthly, or not monthly, weekly supervisor meetings, which, communication supervisor, jail captain, undersheriff, whatever, they would come every Monday morning, and that's where it's kind of, I made sure they turned in their monthly reports, and then I would turn them into you. Usually personnel decisions, I was always involved in that. Usually on the budget, I pretty much would have a meeting with Kim, and we would discuss, and I would tell her number-wise pretty much out in the budget, but she would actually type it out and prepare it, and she would bring it back to me, I would review it, and then if I kick it back. As far as the day-to-day, more so just if she had a problem related to someone complaining about something she did, purchases, big purchases, always came to me about, what, do we want to take bids, or how to discuss it with the commissioners. We always did that. As far as the day-to-day, she pretty much handled that. So,
What do we have before?
I still say accountability. I mean, it's just holding accountability to,
What was it before, when
before I could.
Yeah, how
when
was it
When we
structured?
started in '93, it was structured, there was like a 7-member board that, met, I think we was meeting monthly, because that was right when both Chief Wilson and I took over. But we were meeting monthly, if I remember right. Eventually, it went to quarterly or something like that. Then we had, again, 2 chiefs down there, myself, two or three at-large members. There was about 7 on it, and they were in advisory capacity. But a lot of things have changed, because then it was kinda under the city. Then it moved to, it was still under the city, but the payroll went to the county. And then it pretty much is, oh, I'd say the last 8 years or so, I'm guessing. It's pretty much been all county benefits, county pay. There was a time too where I think the county was paying, but the benefits were through the city. But it's all under the county now, under the county umbrella. And here the last few years, it's pretty much been Mike and I. And it's nothing formally where we met regularly or anything. If we had an issue come up, or if a communications supervisor would quit, then we would all get together and interview and select. But we haven't had to do that, you know, for a while now. And usually budget, I would share the budget with them too, and it was usually just a matter of I'm fine with that. And if we had any issues that was brought up from EMS or anywhere else, complaints, it was a big issue, then we would come to you guys. But that hasn't really been done for a number of years also, so. If there's any changes gonna be made, I would say now's a good time to do it. If you're comfortable with leaving it under the sheriff, 'cause he's in the building, but I think his plate's gonna be full, but it's whatever you guys decide to do. That's kind of a history of how we've done it and where we got.
I've got some ideas, but I mean, we get talking about personnel, we're probably have to have an executive session, but, you laid out some things for us to decide or to look at. And we've got a short time to fill it, so we're gonna have to look at maybe some Band-Aids till we get transitioned, I mean, so.
But with the two main things, I mean, if you guys want me to go ahead and do it now, I can try in the next week or two, get with Pauline and kind of go over. The fuel card is not really too complicated. But I will tell you, doing it for 150 employees, you get a lot of calls, you know, I need to increase my spending limit, and then as the card administrator, you're the one that has to approve that, so there's been times I've been away and my phone will ring, hey, I'm here buying this, my card won't work, or I need to, so when I call them, they say, well, their spending limit's exceeded, so then I have to raise their spending limit temporarily, and then.
You can do that over the phone.
Yeah, they'll let you do it over the phone.
You know what's funny, I know some of those cards, they'll raise yours, but you have to write, and if you wanna lower your spending limits, you have to write. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to get your limits lowered.
Usually they're pretty good, I can do it in a matter of an hour or two, I mean, I had to do that with Wes.
They probably maybe got a coding system, I remember.
It took them an hour or two, but it was 'cause it was a pretty big increase, and whoever I was talking to had to get approval from somebody else.
Yeah, it took them to different
Took
levels.
them a couple hours, but usually, it's just one of those things where you may be gone, or wherever you're at, and you're gonna have to stop and call, and, or I can always wait.
Let's go, 2 of them, huh?
And the fuel card's a matter of entering data and get PIN numbers and names and tag numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you want, I'll give that to Pauline. If you want me to hold off till you let me know something different, I'll do that, whatever.
Well, let's at least get the ball rolling, so we at least have a couple people involved with that transition, so that'd probably be a good idea to get that at least transitioned over, so at least if that's not our final destination or Ruby Edge, that, you know, we at least have multiple people that have seen it, so we can relay that message or transfer it.
Alright. You good with that, Pauline?
Okay.
I don't know if you have any other questions about it. I know there was a fourth one, but I can't remember what it was.
Cards, EOC, fleet cards, joint communications.
Well, John, we're certainly gonna miss you. I've enjoyed working with you. You do wear a lot of hats around here, so we're certainly gonna miss your contributions.
And I want to apologize, because I missed my opportunity to tell my sheriff's story on you at Christmas dinner. And I kicked myself in the butt. I was leaving, I said, yeah, that was the time to honor you and with a tribute of a sheriff's story.
He's probably heard them all.
Huh?
He's probably heard
It's
them all.
pretty good. It's really pretty good. Probably true.
Was
Probably was
you
true.
guys when you had that deal there?
No, it was just three of us.
It was just the two of
Just
you?
down Rogers Road.
Oh, yeah.
To the county government then. That's what I lived last year, I was like worried we'd have the same situation.
I could tell you guys a story about the beach and such, and that's 50 people, so they could laugh at John.
Oh, okay, I didn't know, I should know, maybe it wasn't the fourth one, but something else. K Camp, which you know the way that's spelled, I've been on there since 2005. There is a possibility that they may want me to fill out my term. I don't know which is through this year. I told them I didn't want to be a part of any voting, but they just had elections and everything, and there's only one person that come forward, and there's three of us. We've never had this happen before, but there's three of us that's been on there a long, long time. I mean, well, I've been on there 8, and John Miller's been on there about 12 or 13, and Marge Roberson from Harvey,
Should've been one.
she's gone and her term is up, but Miller and I have 1 year left on our terms. Miller may be going to work for the county, they may be hiring him in a position, so, he may stay on the board. They're gonna have to decide whether they wanna do some changes on the, bylaws. If it is, and I don't know what they're gonna do yet. The board's either gonna decide to keep us on, or they're gonna have the county commission board basically say it's okay as long as they want us to reside in the county. So if we still reside in our county, you have to be a member of the county, and you have to be a resident of that county. So if that comes on, I would like to stay. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna be involved in public safety somewhere in the state of Kansas, and if it's close enough, I wanna stay on. If they so choose, then I'm gonna stay on another year, and if it takes your blessing, I'll ask for that. If they do it through the board, then they won't be say so, but they're talking about doing some changes with who can participate on the board, so.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the only other thing I can think of. They had an outgoing party for ours, outgoing, and then the next day that came up, so.
So you have to give your cake back?
Huh?
You have to get this.
No, that's why I want to stay on, so I can get another gift.
Yeah, any idea, timeframe, like I assume January at some point, they I guess just let us know when.
Yeah, I mean, they'll let you know if,
Oh, okay.
or maybe they'll tell us to come in front of the board and the board's okay with it, but I would like to stay on, and it would still be I think it would be advantageous to Addison County for me to stay on, because if there's still issues, I probably could relay them to you, but, there's a variance thing that could happen over the next month or so, if something could end up where I can't, and if I can't, it goes back to the board. The way the K Camp, it's not anything, as you guys know what you do when elections come up, you, of course, nominate somebody to run for office, which is what you've done, because we have to get reelected every 2 years. But the county members don't actually have a say-so in who actually holds the position if somebody quits. In other words, it won't be somebody from Atchison County again. I'm not saying it couldn't be, but typically it's not, it doesn't work that way. They go somewhere else. They kinda have a nominating committee that seeks out, and I'm the first sheriff that's ever been on there. They've never had any other sheriffs before, but I think if I go off, they'll look for another sheriff. And there's been some talk about allowing non-elected officials on it, but I don't know if that's gonna go anywhere or not, because right now it's, I think there's 3 or 4 county commissioners, 2 clerks, and myself. So,
That's what Kathy Bowman was on with you.
who?
Kathy Bowman, was she on?
Kathy Bone's on it. She's been on long term on there too. But they don't get a lot of interest in it.
I couldn't believe she's been a commissioner as long as she's in.
Really?
She's the first woman commissioner.
How many years?
24 years, but she was completed.
All right, if there's anything else you can think
Or
of.
Will, I think maybe it's Will.
All right, but
Yeah.
that's everything I can think of at this point.
I don't think there's enough, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I still keep that story in my heart.
You will have the opportunity to share it someday.
I'm not gonna miss the next.
Maybe you wanna share it with me
Before?
personally, before you share it with
Oh,
everybody.
no.
See if I approve
I
of
think you
it.
say it non-publicly.
No, I wait till you get out of office so you can't put me in jail, that's all.
Wow, that must be a really good.
Yeah, better not do a public meeting.
Well, we got the globe here, so it needs to be put in the paper.
Well, I realized afterwards, I could have, there was enough lonesome people there in the room that I could have signed names of some of the other characters in the story that would have even made it a little bit better, but that's after the fact.
Anyway, that's it. Been a lot of good years, and my phone number is gonna stay the same, my email's gonna stay the same. Or at least my main one. We got about 3 email accounts, but,
You'll have to give us that.
I mean, really, the big thing may come up is issues related to the building, 'cause that's one thing, and I don't think hardly anybody here knows anything like, I mean, from start to finish, but I mean, all the documents are around. They're in the basement, they're cast, and I got a set in my office, a little small print, but you're gonna have building issues come up from time to time, somebody's gonna be lost, but as long as my memory holds up, and some of it's starting to fail now, but I mean, I can point you in the right direction, I think.
Have you thought about, or have you asked, like, that transition? I mean, obviously that's still a few weeks away, but I mean.
No, Jack and I met already for a few hours this week, and we kinda got things going.
Good.
Biggest issue I told him going in is gonna be personnel, because there's a lot, there's gonna be about 5 vacancies on the patrol side, and, I think he was kinda wanting to hire his own people, so I quit hiring people, and we're working short-staffed as heck, and I told him that, but it also takes, if he goes the way I did, and I asked him, and he said he'd like to see how I go about it, but if he just wants to come in and say, look at an application, hire somebody, he can do that, but I have testing phases, which have a written examination, a psychological examination, a background investigation, and.
We were talking about that in other positions earlier today for different.
But anyway, it's not real easy to hire 5 quality people, and get it done in a timely manner, so I'm,
But that's gonna take time.
That's gonna take some time, and probably gonna be short-staffed, and then training that many people at a time are not a big enough department to where that helps. And so we're trying to utilize some part-timers right now to get us through, but we're pretty, I think we got about 5 officers, and we usually have 11 or 12. 2 of them are on medical leave, one just quit as of Friday, and the other one's might be leaving in the next week or 2.
One just quit, you said?
Yeah. Deputy Ziegler, he went back to Missouri. And he said he'd help us out part-time, so we're probably gonna have to have him. He was a good younger deputy, but really good guy. I mean, that's gonna be the biggest issue right off the bat, but.
Thanks for your update.
I told him, contrary, I'm not cleaning out some accounts, some crime prevention stuff where I donate money and buy things, you know, and that will be spent down a little bit, but that's not tax money, that's fundraising money, and I already informed him of that as well as, but I informed him there's some accounts that's, he's gonna be in good shape, I mean, there's no money been spent out of the offender registration, there's no money been spent out of concealed carry, another thing statutorily that he can spend on certain things, but it's not part of the budget process. And, you know, I haven't spent the capital improvement jail or any of that, he's still got a sufficient amount, I think, to last him a couple years, but, so, because as you know, my cars have always been taken out of that capital improvement. I think there's about $130,000 left in that, and there's $160,000 or so left in the jail capital improvement. So, I don't think he should have much money problems coming in, you know, for a couple of years. My budget and his might be 2 different things, so. But I think someone asked me, I don't know, maybe it was you, if I thought budget was an issue, one of the biggest issues, and I wouldn't say I've got to buy everything I've ever wanted, but I've always been pretty much taken care of. And I don't think I've asked for too much where I had a lot left over, and I don't think, you know, the other way, I mean, I think I've been adequately funded, outside of being able to pay salaries, but contrary to that can be an issue, but the reality is county agencies don't pay what municipal agencies do, and here in Ashland, we've always fought that because good people wanna go where there's more money, and
Buying good used vehicles, it saved the taxpayers and the county a ton of money.
I really don't think I've spent more than about I take it back. I bought an awful lot of cars in the last 5 years for $5,000 or $6,000, $7,000. And, I mean,
A lot of them you used for a year or 2 and sold them for half what you paid for them.
I just looked at several vehicles. That white truck, that maintenance, that's 15 years old. I mean, I got all the Aerostar that we got at Senior Village, I bought first for $7,900. That's been used for about 10 years now. The blue van we got over there, it's got a lot of miles, but it still serves its purpose. But I mean, and not many agencies, you know, when Jack comes in, not many agencies really like to buy a lot of used vehicles. Everybody wants new vehicles, and that's understandable. when the economy got tough, I chose to go that way and got by. And economy's still tough as far as I'm concerned. All right.
Those two vehicles, the Tom and I went down to help you, I'd have bought them at that price any day. At that kind of price, because I even had people that figured what we paid for both of them was what one of them would have cost out.
One car, but we paid for both SUVs.
Yeah, you couldn't have bought it, you couldn't.
Larry's and that Durango, we paid 11.5 and 13, so 24.5 we got two SUVs for. And that's about what one car costs. All right.
I can remember the trips we took, bringing in vehicles home.
Yeah. When I got out of
Missouri.
Oh, yeah. When the Durango, we didn't get out there and you thought it was stuck in four-wheel drive.
Well, yeah, when it was, you had to switch it to neutral to
Yeah.
get it to come out of four-wheel.
Yeah, you had to switch to neutral
I
before
was
you drop
going down
out.
interstate, down I-70 in four-wheel drive. He'd drove it before, the day before, a couple days before. So and I thought this thing was steering and sounding kind of funny, and stuff,
So gas
four-wheel
gauge
drive.
pulled.
Yeah. And so we pulled in to get gas, pulled it out to Topeka. I said, "You're driving this thing." I said, I'm not driving that thing home. And we found out, and then put it in neutral, then hit the four-wheel drive switch to get it kicked out. You can't do it on the go or anything, so. Live and learn.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you all.
Addresses, Wednesday, 23rd.
I don't think there's much in there. I mean, I think we have alerted everything.
Okay, if you're ready, I'd ask you to get 2 signed originals back.
Okay.
You're-
All 3 of us signed.
I think it's just, I can't remember.
I thought all 3 of us signed. I thought all 3 of us signed last.
Well, it's not prepared that way.
We can just give him the chairman permission if we.
I move that chairman sign.
Non-hazardous solid waste transfer and disposal agreement, entered into with Defo Industries.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's just one thing.
We've been on for hours.
It's just one thing.
Yeah, we got
I know, that's what I was thinking. Maybe more.
You got minutes though to reinforce.
Yeah.
Is Paul in
Yeah.
there?
Do I need to sign this for Pauline?
Kind of question on,
She'll get all of this back.
Okay.
Oh, Pepper, you know where there's
You want to tell me?
a copy of it,
Personnel.
Oh, we might want to.
Yeah.
10, 15.
well, it was just information, all we needed was for her to sign it, to take her name, her mom.
Entertain motion, to go into executive session.
I'll be,
Personnel matter of non-elected personnel for, skills minutes.
okay.
Also move.
Come out at, 12:07.
So we're gonna have any other business or anything.
We had time after.
No.
Executive session, personnel matter of non-elected personnel. 15 minutes, coming up 12:07, 12:08.
Tom made the motion,
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
and who will be in it?
Commissioners and council.
Okay, we're coming out at 12:07,
Maybe people.